Hey everybody, how's it going? EDGYTIM here from the world famous, okay, not really, world famous headquarters here at EDGYTIM.com, and thought I'd hit you with a video. The videos will be returning very quickly, obviously starting this week. Well, as you are well aware, we wrapped up the spring football season. 6 weeks, and again, just I'm beginning to go through and add to my watch list, recruiting watch list, update some things, update some rankings. So all that's going to continue over the next week or so, leading up to camps, summer camps. I got a lot going on in the next few months. Starting this weekend, actually Sunday, down in Indianapolis is the Rivals Camp, invite only. So I'm going to go cover that on Sunday. Then the following Tuesday, the 11th, we'll have the stage camp down at DePaul Prep. You can still register for that. Just follow my Twitter. We'll have links. And again, it should be a fun camp. I'm excited to get down to the DePaul Prep. Brand new facility. I mean, great backdrop and skyline, and should be pretty amazing. So I'm looking forward to that on May 11th. And then, yeah, just kind of a plethora of camps after that. So it's going to be busy camp season. So we're going to get into camp season in this video. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to camps. I was going to do this in one gigantic video, but I might end up separating this in a couple of different parts. We'll see how this goes. But there's two things I want to discuss in this week's recruiting talk. And the first is offers and kind of what's going on with the landscape with recruiting right now. More importantly, the class of 2022. 2021s are being wrapped up. But what I want to discuss is the impact, or in many cases, the non-impact of spring football here in the state of Illinois and recruiting. It's been interesting, I think, to say the least. A lot of people aren't talking about it, which I think is wrong. I think it needs to be discussed. So we're going to get into that. And then I might end up doing a separate video piece on camps, and just to give you some thoughts and some tips and some do's and don'ts regarding camps. If you're a parent of a football player, student athlete, a potential prospect that's planning on going to a lot of these college one-day camps this summer, a couple of these tips might be able to help you out. Again, I've been covering the camp circuit for well over 20 years, going on 25 plus. So again, I've seen a lot. I've experienced a lot. I've seen a lot of good. I've seen a lot of bad as well. So just trying to give you some tips of maybe what to do, what to avoid, and to hopefully make that camp experience worthwhile. So we'll get into that either later in this video or in the second session. So so let's get into recruiting, and let's talk about it with the kind of touching spring IHSA football season, the good, the bad, the not so good, the ugly, if you will, when it comes to the recruiting process with spring football. I think a lot of people had hoped that Illinois kids playing in the spring was going to be a be-all, end-all, fix-all for what has been, I think, just a complete lack of attention from the state of Illinois in recruiting circles. What do I mean by that? Well, talk to any kid being in touch that has been in touch with schools, and they've talked to different colleges. You know, there's a group that has offers, have gotten early offers, and their recruiting stock remains high, and they hear from colleges on a consistent basis. And if they have offers, great. If they don't have offers, the schools that are showing interest that maybe haven't offered are telling these kids, well, we want to see you in camp. Okay, and that's a pretty standard line. Colleges, number one, want to promote and fill up their own camps. There are financial reasons why they do that. Certainly not the main reason for them doing it, but it's part of the camp landscape. The assistant coaches generally are the ones that end up making money off of the camps. So they want kids to come and camp. Now, part of that ties into the fact that they get those kids on campus. They get to work with those coaches. The coaches get to see kids up close, and that's been the big part of this as well. I think a lot of people thought spring football would be great. College coaches would be out watching games. At games, every sideline would be packed with college coaches, and that's the farthest thing of what happened. What I think the people that were hoping for that spring football miracle cure, what they didn't realize was that the NCAA dead period was going to continue through June 1st. So basically any thoughts of live in-game evaluations got thrown out the window. So that certainly has an impact, I think, on the recruiting aspect of this for kids here in the state of Illinois. So in short, what happened was the state of Illinois, and again, this is all, I'm not going to go down the COVID impact road again. I'm so sick of talking about it. I mean, and I understand it's a big part of the story. It continues to be a big part of the story. It doesn't mean I have to continue to jump on it every time. I just get sick of it already, but it's definitely had an impact here. So when Illinois decided to kick the can down the road, not play football in the fall, and again, you can go to the free board and have that debate as much as you want. One of the reasons I was fully in support of return to play and to at least attempt to have a fall season were the exact reasons we saw in the spring why we should have continued, because I didn't see anything differently happening in the fall than what happened in the spring, meaning contact tracing, meaning programs getting shut down for COVID concerns, teams having to scramble to find games and to schedule games. I think that was going to happen regardless. So the impact was we were left behind from recruiting standpoint. It's been a wicked kind of tornado effect for recruiting with all that went down. There is no doubt the NCAA transfer portal has played a huge role in the lack of scholarship offers out there, especially at certain levels. FCS in particular, there's just not a lot of athletic scholarship money out there right now. A big part of that is the transfer portal. Kids that are already in colleges, unhappy with their situation, they're given a one-time free pass by the NCAA. These kids don't like where they're at for whatever reason. They go in the transfer portal. They're looking for new homes. So what this has given the colleges, it's given them another outlet of recruiting and bringing in kids. And in most cases, especially in a case of Illinois, where you have kids that at the time hadn't played football in over a year, they're going to go to the transfer portal because at least they kind of know what they're getting out of a kid in the transfer portal versus a kid in a state that didn't play in the fall and had no tape. And, you know, it's been ugly. So not playing in the fall, I think, has had just a tremendous impact, a negative impact on recruiting here in the state of Illinois, starting with 2021s are just, that's the lowest hanging fruit there is when it comes to the impact. 21s have been impacted greatly. 22s are being impacted greatly. And again, I tried making this point at the time. This is more than just a one-year deal. This is going to be a multi-year impact deal with recruiting. And we're already seeing it. So, so that had happened. A lot of kids have been passed up. What do I mean passed up? I mean that the limited amount of scholarship money, athletic money that was available at D1 on the way down, part of that pile had already yanked out because of the transfer portal. So that cut the amount of offers available. Then you have all these other states surrounding us playing high school football in the fall. Indiana, Michigan. It took Michigan a while, but they did get it figured out. Michigan ended up playing. Wisconsin, most of Wisconsin, I know there were some parts that didn't play that ended up playing in the spring, but a large majority of Wisconsin schools played in the fall. Iowa in the fall, Missouri in the fall. So all these states around us played. So all these colleges that recruit here went elsewhere and extended those offers. And those offers in a lot of cases, especially at the FBS level and the Power 5 level, those have been snagged up. So huge impact. So that cut the amount of available scholarships. Our kids not having film from the fall, just a huge negative. So we kept being told, well, and colleges kept telling kids here in Illinois, yeah, we like you. We haven't had a chance to see you in person, which is true. There's no lie in that whatsoever. Recruiting dead period. Kids not allowed to make on-campus visits for whatever reason. Well, because of the dead period. So no contact with the coaches, no personal visits with the coaches whatsoever. Just a tremendous negative impact on recruiting as well. So again, Illinois double whammied, no fall football, transfer portal, no contact, no eyeballing, no coaches eyeballing kids from the state of Illinois to at least get an idea to see where they compare. So I think we all put our hope on spring football. Okay, well, hey, spring football, that will hopefully level the playing field a little bit. Well, it really hasn't. So just checking the Rivals database today, which, by the way, if you're a recruiting fan and you do not know or are not familiar with the Rivals database, my Lord, you need to get familiar with the Rivals database. Again, we try our best to keep that thing maintained. It is a battle every single day. I try to put in as much time as I can on the state of Illinois, which obviously I covered, and it is my responsibility to make sure things are updated, offers are updated, heights, weights, video. I've been going through the last week or so, adding spring video to a lot of these profiles. And again, if you're a prospect and you have a Rivals database profile, just reach out if you need changes. Always glad to do that. Just DM me if I'm following you at EDGYTIM on Twitter or edgytim@edgytim.com email. Glad to get anything changed you need. So within reason, we can get into that if you contact me. But again, so trying to get that out there. Anyway, the Rivals database tracks every kid that we are aware of that's received a scholarship offer. As of now, 55 total in the 2022 class have scholarship offers. And I would say more than half are less than 2 to 3 at the most. And many of those are FCS offers. There are schools that are regular recruiting schools in this area in Illinois that just aren't around this year. There's many. I don't want to highlight any handful of schools, but there's several that traditionally recruit here that just are nowhere to be found in this class. And again, I've talked to some of those coaches and they will tell you it's the combination of the transfer portal, no fall tape. It's put our kids behind. So again, so out of the 55 kids that had offers, we've had some commitments, and that's part of this story I'm going to get into as well. 41 right now are still uncommitted that have offers. That's an incredibly low number, hopefully that will improve as we get into the summer camp season here. But I don't know how much, honestly. I don't know how much more is out there from an offer standpoint. And that's something we're going to find as we go along here in the spring and the early summer. So it's incredibly important to understand that camp season is going to be probably as important as ever. But parents and players and kids, you need to understand landing that offer is as hard now as it's ever been. And it's always been hard. It's even harder now because of these outlying circumstances. Believe me, they're not outstanding. It's the furthest thing from outstanding. But these outlying factors, that's why we're not seeing a whole ton of offers out there right now. Again, I'm hoping the spring and the summer will help with that. I'm hoping more kids will end up drawing scholarship offers, athletic money. But we'll see. I don't have a great feeling right now. Again, I'll be out there all summer. I know other people love advertising where they're going for the summer and make a big deal out of it. I just tell kids I'll be everywhere. And that's what I try to do. I try to get out to as many college camps, mega camps, anywhere I can possibly get to go watch kids and get an idea and do evaluations, the better. So, but yeah, it's not a good situation right now with recruiting here in the state of Illinois. So be aware of it. You definitely need to be aware of it. And you've got to get out to camps. I know right now from a team standpoint in Illinois, we have no idea what's going to go on with the fall season. That makes this camp season even more important because at least you will have this window to go show people what you can do. So if you decide not to camp, I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming, like everyone else, we are still going to be a go for a full IHSA football season in the fall. I thought that a year ago, and we saw what happened. So don't take things for granted. I think that's the one thing we can all take away from this lesson. Do not take things for granted. Take advantage of those opportunities while you can and get after it. So that's the latest. I'll continue to update my watch list. I'll continue to revise rankings as I see fit. Again, I've got a lot of information from the spring of kids I've been able to see in person. So just stay tuned to the EDGY Nation side. I'll continue to crank that stuff out for you. Talked about my camp travels. Again, Rivals camp this Sunday. The stage camp on Tuesday down at the Paul Prep. And then again, as we move along, we get into the college camp season. I will be at other camps as well. So looking forward to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off here, and then I'm going to pick it up with a video to follow right after this one, talking about camp season and as a parent and as a player, some things to do and some things to avoid to hopefully help you out with your camp experience, try to make things go smoother, try to just get you a little bit more prepared, more organized, because many of you have never done this before. So it's really important to be organized and have things planned out and be ready to go, and how to do it the right way and try to avoid some pitfalls that many others before you have gotten caught up in with camp. So, all right, so I'm going to wrap that up here. So that's kind of the recruiting side of what's going on right now. The other one more thing with recruiting, I'm sorry, this stuff keeps popping up, but I think it's important. You're seeing more and more kids commit all of a sudden. I think that is a combination of, number one, colleges starting to pressure these kids to commit early. And yeah, I know it's shocking, but they pressure kids into committing early. You know, the case, I know Illinois has picked up a handful of kids recently. NIU has picked up a handful of kids recently. And it's more than just the colleges pressuring these kids. I think it's these kids seeing what's going on out there. And I don't know if you want to call it maybe a panic, which I don't know if that's the proper term. Sorry, I got a little bit of a runny nose today, a little bit of sinus going on. I'm all good. No COVID, fully vaccinated. So today's actually my fully vaccinated 2 weeks after my second shot. So I'm going to hug and I'm just going to hug all of you when I see you. I'm kidding. But yeah, no, I'm all good to go. But what has been interesting is a lot of these commitments happening now. And I think kids are just being smarter and doing their homework and looking at the landscape and saying, I don't know how many more offers are coming out of this. Schools are getting more and more commitments early. Kids are committing earlier. And I think in a lot of cases, it's a smart decision because, as I've mentioned many times already in this video, I don't know how much more is out there, honestly. I mean, if you're a kid like Tyler Morris and you're, Caleb Brown and Valen Erickson and Yasser, and these guys have got options and they've got offers, and those offers are going to stay there. Colleges aren't going to pull those offers anytime soon, but eventually they will. And the clock is running with a lot of schools on those offers. So you're going to continue to see kids really dig in and start looking more and more serious at these offers because of the combination of, I think, the opportunities of what's left out there, plus, again, pressure from the colleges to get things done, and the limited amount of scholarships. I mean, colleges have the upper hand again with this. They can kind of twist arms and get kids to make commitments when they are not necessarily ready to do it. And kids are going to continue to talk about taking 5 official visits. I've been hearing that for as long as I've been doing this process. I can count on 1, maybe 2 hands the amount of kids that actually took all 5 official visits before making a decision. So it sounds great when you talk about it and you think it's the right thing to do. You'll get about 2 to 3 visits in and you're done. You just don't want to do it anymore. So, and again, with kids being allowed to take visits in the summer, again, the NCAA dead period gets lifted June 1st. That's why you're able to have camps. That's why college coaches are able to get out there and watch you. It's gonna push things along, and we are going to see more and more kids committing earlier and earlier in this class. So stay tuned for that. I'll have all kinds of coverage regarding that and breaking commitments and everything else. But welcome to the recruiting landscape. So there's my talk for this week. Check back, as I mentioned, the next video I'm going to have in the next day or so. I'm going to talk about camps, what to do, what not to do, what to avoid, and just a guide to try to help you out and hopefully get you prepared for the college camp. So there you go, everybody. Thanks. Have a great week, and stay tuned. As I mentioned, I'm going to do a camp video. Also going to start breaking down 2021 fall, what to look for, top teams, maybe some sleepers. And yeah, so we're going to start digging into that right away, because let's face it, it's going to be here before we know it. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.